I'm going to attempt to shoot Issyria. 9s to hit. I'm going to boost.
Okay.
Hits.
I am
Power 14. Going to boost this as well.
Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to round 2 of the April Warmachine Australia Casuals League. And today I am fighting against Jake with his Zaateroth. And sadly, I could not record the first game that I had for this event because my recording got corrupted for some weird reason. And just to warn you, today there's also some issues as my second monitor actually broke down, so you may see some cropping as I am trying to record using my main game screen rather than the screen that I set up to record the game. So either way, this is a 100-point match, and let's get on to the lists. And as I mentioned, Jake is bringing Infernals with Zaateroth, the Weaver of Shadows. In her cohort, she has Foreboder, Lamenter, and Tormentor. For his solos, he's carrying Eilish Garrity, the Darkseeker, Great Princess Regna Grabnoy, and a Foreboder under her control, the Hermit of Henchhold, Lord Roger, the Viaros, Linda the Forgotten, the Wretch, Umbral Guardian, and Valen Hawk to complete his solos. For his units, he has 3 units of Cultist Band with a Orin Midwinter for the UA for one of the Cultist Bands, 2 units of Reaver Swarms, and 2 units of Owlers. For his cards, Jake is bringing Blessing of the Gods, Careful Reconnaissance, Lucky Penny, Old Faithful, and Put the Fires Out. I am bringing Issyria, Symbol of Dawn today. With her is a Chimera, a Hemera, a Hyperion, and a Manticore. For my solos, I am only bringing Dawnguard Dester Thane, Dawnguard Sentinel Sire, Fey Knight Scareth Isian. For my units, I am bringing a unit of Dawnguard Desters, a unit of Invictors, and a unit of Dawnguard Sentinels with their UA. For my cards, I am bringing Breakthrough, Careful Reconnaissance, Lucky Penny, Old Faithful, and Put the Fires Out.
Deployment.
Our scenario for today is 2 fronts with the scenario terrain right dead center in that Storm Forest. I lost the roll-off, and Jake has decided to go second, picking bottom as his deployment zone. So from left to right, I deployed my Hemera, Hyperion, Fey Knight Scareth Isian, Issyria, Dawnguard Sentinel Sire, the full unit of Dawnguard Sentinels with UA, the full unit of Dawnguard Invictors, Manticore, Chimera, the unit of Dawnguard Desters, and finally the Dawnguard Dester Thane to close off my right flank. My reasoning for deploying in this manner is I have both arc nodes on my left and right flanks in order to fire off blinding lights when needed, and because the 50 mil objectives are on my left, I believe that the Hyperion should be able to handle everything on his own there. He does have Hemera as support, especially with the debuffs coming from Issyria. So I felt like that flank could handle its own. And then on the right flank, both 40s are there, so I put most of my units ready to claim and contest there. And then I also have the Fey Knight and Dawnguard Sentinel Sire to be able to try and snipe the scenario terrain in the middle of the map. I have the Dawnguard Desters in the far right flank. Because of their huge movement, I should be able to swing where I need them to be. So that's why I put everything there. Hopefully, I should be able to interact with all my dudes and support the areas where they will be lacking. For Jake's deployment, from left to right, he starts off with the Tormentor in the trench, the Wretch, a unit of Cultists, a Lamenter, another unit of Cultists right beside Zaateroth in the middle of his deployment. Behind her is Eilish Garrity. Next to Eilish is the Hermit of Henchhold. And then Lord Roger, the Viaros, and Valen Hawk right behind the other trench. Next up, we have the Forebodar attached to Zaateroth, the first unit of Grievers, another unit of Cultists, this time the one with Orin UA. Next is Regna and her Forebodar, and then both of the Howler units. And finally, another unit of Grievers to close off Jake's right flank.
Legions of Dawn, turn 1.
So my turn 1 is relatively simple. I start off with Issyria, and she casts Admonition on herself, and then through the Chimera, or Chimera, however you pronounce it, she casts Inviolable Resolve, targeting the Dawnguard Desters, and then finally, just so that she can use all of her focus, I cast Crusader's Call, just so that I can, do some Pathfinder stuff. And then I run her forward right beside the obstruction, around 11 inches, and I'm planning to use the obstruction to try and get some protection from potential threats coming from the right side. Next up, I activate Chimera and run her over to the 50 mil objective right behind the wall. I then activate the Hyperion and run it 10 inches forward right beside Issyria. I then activate Fane Knight Skyreth Isian and decide to run him over to the opposite side of the obstruction. I'm putting him there as a big threat to try and contest. I then activate the Dawnguard Sentinel Sire and use its Balpan Precision Strike and run him forward 10 inches, hopefully to support Fane Knight Skyreth. The battle plan is used so that I don't have to be super sensitive about how I move my units, as it allows me to pass through my own guys when making movements, so as long as they're within 10. I forgot to mention at the start of my turn, I actually apparition the Chimera 2 inches forward. Now I'm activating it and running it 11. Hopefully be able to Arc Node Blinding Light from it in future turns. I then activate the Dawnguard Invictors and declare a run order, and I try to use the wall as a way to protect them from what I believe would be a potential attack from the Grievers on Jake's right, or the ambush from one of his units. I forgot her name, but yeah, I wanted them there to be able to try and steal or control my own 40 mil objective in future turns. I then activate the Manticore and run it 11 inches. I'm putting it right behind the rubble, and hopefully I can use it to try and shoot down the Howlers, and that'll be easier because I have volume fire on the Manticore. I then activate the Dawnguard Desters, and this is where I realize that I relatively gimped myself with the order of activations. Luckily, I did manage to find spots to place my models in a more effective way. I intentionally put them in a sort of reverse B formation so that I can either charge on the left or right, depending on which Dester I use to be the starting point of the charge. Ideally, I want them to block the Howlers and probably eliminate them, but with Repo, they are better movement control units, as I like to call them. I then activate the Dawnguard Dester Sire and find a spot to run him and put them in a position where he can give his tough and steady bubble to the Desters and probably try to support that 40 mil on my side. I then finally activate the Dawnguard Sentinels and run them in a position wherein I can bait one of the models in order to trigger vengeance on the following turn. However, my initial plan for them is to actually just try and survive and be some sort of second wave of attackers to try and claim both 40 mils on the right side of the flank. I'm expecting Jake to focus his efforts in getting rid of the Desters, so having the Sentinels there, if they survive, I do have a potential 7-man unit or 6-man unit that can charge at 10, 12 with Crusader's Call, and hopefully Weapon Master on feet turn would be able to eliminate a lot of Jake's threats in successive turns.
Infernals turn 1.
We're going to activate the Hermit of Henchhold. They're going to move 5, and then they are going to use their Whispers at the Gate ability to give Zaateroth 1 more essence. Devourers is going to activate. They're going to walk gonna make sure I double check how close they need to be. Range 5. So yep, that's in range. Beautiful. First gonna move up, and then they're gonna cast, they're gonna use Harmonious Exaltation. So the next spell that Zaateroth casts costs 1 less. Eilish is gonna move his 6 to here, and then put Puppet Master on Zaateroth, which is them a rerun. Valen will activate. They're going to use Brother's Keeper, which everyone within 10 of them cannot be knocked down. So we're just gonna, Valen's just gonna walk up to here. And then they're also going to actually I need to summon as well. So I'm gonna activate the Wretch over here. Well, they're gonna run up to 11 into here. And the Foreboding is going to, that's just gonna fly over into there. Zaateroth is going to cast Rite of Torment, which will be reduced by 1. So down to cost 2. I'm also going to cast Carnivore onto the blue unit of Howlers. And that one costs 2. Then I'm going to move 6. Just making sure to try and stay behind that. So Zaateroth will move to there. And then I'm going to summon on the Wretch. Yeah, I'm going to summon in a Desolator. It has a cloud effect. It will then activate these Polters are going to, they're going to activate there, and then 2 of them are going to use the magic ability to put Essence onto the Desolator. This Desolator is going to activate, and it's going to run and just tag this actually, I'm out of 17 here. Beautiful. This little Lamenter, he's just going to run. He's just gonna sit nice and cozy here. And then these cultists are just gonna move into here. So this one's gonna run into this rubble. Beautiful, they're all in that rubble. But this Griever unit's just gonna go, they're just gonna go into this trench. Yeah, it's pretty good. Oren's gonna move with his unit here, and then it's gonna go also into that. A couple of these guys they'll sit further back here. This Foreboding's just gonna go to here, and then Ragnar's gonna activate. She's gonna go here, and she's gonna cast a D-Cell. These Howlers, I think I'm just gonna move 5 here. And then these Grievers are going, they're running 12, just all the way over here. And then that is my turn.
Legions of Dawn, turn 2.
So, like I said before, apologies for the bad cropping on this. My other monitor died, so I could not film in a better manner. So yeah, for this turn, I knew that I had to stop spellcasting from Zaateroth. So at the start of my maintenance phase, I had the Chimera Apparition. So you will see here that I'm trying to find an angle where I can both see Zaateroth and try to block potential charges from that side. So after a while of fidgeting, I finally managed to find a spot where I think I should be able to see, and then I confirm with Jake regarding Zaateroth's passive if it affects any magical attacks coming from the Archnal, because I believe Zaateroth has a less 3-inch range debuff for attacks against her and those that are base to base next to her. I'll put up the name of the ability on the screen. But yeah, so once I finally finalize the position where I want the Chimera to be, I just do a little bit of proxy basing here and there, and then move on to my actual control phase. So before I actually go to my actual upkeeps, I try to see if Chimera can do the same thing. However, with the quicksand being there, the Chimera's movement would be hampered so much that I wouldn't be able to find a line on Zaateroth. So I had to actually commit with the Chimera at this point. So once that's done, I move on to my upkeeps, and I upkeep Inviolable Resolve and Admonition. One of them is free because I have Chimera's Bond active. So before I actually commit to activating any units, I try to proxy base or figure out the best things to do in the proper order in this turn. I definitely knew that I had to pop my feet before Jake did, because his +2 defense was going to be huge, and his free movement, if I miss, would likely ruin a lot of my potential plans. So I've been mulling about for a while if this will be my feet turn, if I want to save it to counteract the +2 defense on his, or if I try to maximize the amount of damage that I could do right then and there. So here you will see me try to move the Hyperion, finding a spot where it can be more effective. I really wanted the Hyperion to be on both 50 mils on the left. However, the Quicksand removes Pathfinder even from Colossals, so that was a huge deal in where I could legally place it, or at least place it effectively. So once I figured out the proper path for Hyperion, I went back, checked the other possible lanes. One of the things which you can't see here because of how I cropped the footage, and again, that's my fault, sorry, was I was looking for a charge lane for Hyperion to get into the Desolator, if I remember correctly, the newly summoned Desolator from the Wretch. But because of the Quicksand, I couldn't get it, so I had to figure out if Chimera could do it. So once I tested it, I went on to the next situation, which I had to deal with, is try to get rid of the Howlers, especially the ones on the rubble, because this army list does not really have a lot of natural Pathfinder. So I was thinking about where I could place the Dawnguard Desters in order to be more effective in removing the Howlers. So I was mulling about giving them the Pathfinder card, or if I should use Crusader Skull, or use it at the same time and find a way to reach all 3 Howlers with the Carnivore up. Once I figured out the proper path, then I moved on to how I could remove the Grievers, threatening my 40 mil on the right with my Dawnguard Invictors. Once I had the math settled in my head, I started the actual turn and committed my Chimera to where I initially placed it. So once I was happy with that, I activate Issyria, fly her 6 inches into the middle of the map to ensure that the Chimera is within my control, and ensure that I have a big enough bubble to get most of my guys within her feet. So once I finalized her placement, I started off by popping the feet and casting Blinding Light, targeting Zaateroth, and with Arcane Attack 8 against her Def 15s, it was a relatively easy hit, especially with the feet being able to add another dice and dropping whatever I wanted. So once I cast that, I made the hit, and I realized that Blinding Light actually deals damage, and I was able to deal, I believe, 4 points of damage to Zaateroth, and I would call that a good day, good turn, good activation all day. So once I applied the Blinding Light effect, I then had to cast Crusader's Call to ensure that my Dawnguard Desters find a spot to land and be efficient in removing the buffed Howlers. So once the Crusader's Call was active, I decided to activate the Dawnguard Desters and declare a charge, targeting the blue Howlers in the rubble. I activate the full reconnaissance card in order to give them Pathfinder, and move them, I believe, 13 inches up thanks to Crusader's Call, and I do manage to wrap around the blue Howlers as effectively as I could, and I resolve each of their attacks. I do manage to wipe the squad. Once they were done, the next problem I had to solve was where to repo. So one of the things that I had to consider was I did not want the Howlers to have a charge, and try to also mitigate the attacks coming from the Grievers and Orin Midwinter's cultist squad in the trench in the lower left-hand corner that you can see there. So I was thinking maybe with Arm 20 with Inviolable Resolve up, I could actually survive a lot of attacks coming from the smaller units. So I just ended with one of the Desters blocking the charge or engaging the second unit of Howlers. I then activate the Hyperion and move it up 5 inches or as close to 5 inches as I could between the quicksand and the obstruction. So again, I have to apologize for not being able to frame this segment properly, but I decide to make an attack on the Desolator on the left-hand side of the screen, hiding behind the fog. You don't see it here because I'm a bad creator. I apologize for that. But yeah, I decide to use the Hyperion as a gun platform and try to get rid of that Desolator. However, my shots weren't enough. I think it was left with like maybe 10 or less life after making the attacks with the Star Cannon and both Thresher Cannons under feet and with only one focus. So I'd say this wasn't really an efficient turn for the Hyperion. Ideally, it should have been able to get rid of that Desolator. So now I activate Chimera and declare a charge onto the Desolator hiding in the cloud. And again, I'm sorry that this wasn't properly cropped, but hopefully you'll forgive me. So yeah, thanks to Crusader's Call, I am actually able to go over the terrain, the wall terrain, and I don't lose the -2. I don't lose 2 speed in essence, because Crusader's Call grants +2 speed, and not having Pathfinder gives -2 speed. So in essence, I'm able to reach the Desolator. I make the single charge attack for the initial attack for the Desolator with Chimera's only melee weapon, and luckily, thanks to the feat, I am able to get rid of that Desolator. So I am still left with 2 focus on Chimera, and the best option that I had to do with it was to use her gun and shoot the Tormentor, if I remember the name correctly, right beside that obstruction you see at the bottom of the screen. I was also mulling about trying to shoot the cultists hiding in the trench, which you don't see, and again, I'm sorry, but because they are on the trench, they do have blast resist, and I did not think it was worth it to actually shoot them, and I don't think I even had line of sight. Oh wait, I do have line of sight because I ignore clouds thanks to the true sight bonus from Issyria's feat. So the main problem with not shooting the cultists is the blast resist will make her POW 14 gun effectively useless for doing the splash damage. So I finally decide to just shoot the Tormentor, and I am able to bring it down to at least half life, if I recall correctly, because I know it starts with 24 and I think I deal like 12 points of damage to it. Because I boosted the attack and damage rolls, so I was rolling 4 and I had to drop 1. I then activate the Dawnguard Sentinel Sire and use Precision Strike in order to be able to ignore the rest of the Dawnguard blocking his path. And at this point, I realized that I've left Issyria relatively naked with 0 focus, so I use the Sire to effectively, well, not effectively, but as a desperate measure to try and block potential charges from whatever Jake might be able to bring into play. So the second reason for that is if Issyria does survive this turn, I have the Dawnguard Sire to be able to swing or at least move into that scenario terrain to try and either steal or at least contest it in future turns. I then activate Feign Knight, and I've been thinking whether I should try to defend Issyria, especially with Feign Knight having Shield Guard to prevent any ranged attacks. However, at this point, I know that Jake is going to score the flag on his turn if I don't get somebody on that scenario terrain. So I decide to run him instead right in the middle of that terrain, and hopefully with its high defense and armor, hopefully he should be able to tank the terrain for at least 1 or 2 turns. I then activate the Dawnguard Sentinel Sire and advance him 8 to try and take a pot shot at the Grievers on my right. I do that to try and support the Dawnguard Invictors to claim that 40 mil, or at least be able to hold it better than what Jake might be able to put into play, because I believe he still has Linda the Forgotten in ambush, and it could easily steal that scenario terrain if I don't put anything to protect it. And I know that Linda will be able to transform into a horror should Jake decide to do so. So I move in there, fire, get rid of one of the Grievers, and then I repo to try and get within 10 inches of the Desters. And sadly, I'm only able to go within 2 of them, and at least that grants the two Desters tough and steady. So I don't mind losing the Dester that I used to clog up the charge lanes for the remaining horrors. So I then activate the Dawnguard Invictors and advance them in a way wherein I can see the most Grievers as much as I can, because they're hiding behind that obstruction. So once I finally find that angle, I try to make a couple of shots against the Grievers. However, Jake does a very big brain play here and summons the Umbral Guardian with Shield Guard to protect the Grievers. So that changes a lot of my plans for this turn, because I was hoping to get rid of that Griever Swarm, and then I would be able to safely keep the Invictors in that 40 mil objective for the rest of the game. But with the Umbral Guardian being there now, and I completely forgot about the Umbral Guardian, I now have a huge 40 mil threat that could just easily deny me that objective for the rest of the game. When it did pop out, I do decide to spend, I think, 3 of my Invictors in a CRA to try and get rid of it. However, I only deal like 3 points of damage to it, and it stays. I then activate the Manticore and advance it 6 inches, and luckily I am within range of the Umbral Guardian, and I'm hoping to be able to get rid of it thanks to Volley Fire. However, I believe I either miss or pillow fist the attacks here, and the Umbral Guardian actually survives because I only rolled a 1 on his rough D3, and I only had 2 shots to try and get rid of it. So, like I mentioned, I pillow fisted, it stays. Lastly, I activate the Dawnguard Sentinels, and Jake was very smart enough to not trigger Vengeance to give me that additional 3-inch move at the start of my turn. So in this case, I don't really have a good position to charge them. So I decide to just run them over to the 40 mil side. Ideally, they're smack dab in the middle, so I can either charge up or down depending on the situation. At the very least, they are coming out of this battle fresh. I do have that idea of being able to have a second wave once either my Invictors are dead or my Desters are removed from play. So I moved it, like I mentioned, and I try to do another bait here by putting one of the Invictors up front and try to see if Jake will take a bite at the Vengeance play again.
Infernals turn 2.
Upkeeps. I'm not upkeeping Carnivore because the unit's dead. I had to upkeep, I think it's Master of, or Rites of Torment. Just going to move this foreboding into Zaateroth's control. We can start there. Yeah, I'll activate Veil and Hawk. I'm gonna activate the aura that gives everything within 10 no knockdown, and then I'm gonna move into the thing and try and punch up So I'm at 7, so I need a 6. There's a hit, power 14, -6. I'm gonna repo 3 out of your range. Yeah, so we're gonna charge like here. Yeah, we'll do here. And we'll do the parkour attack into number 2. I'm at 7. Hit, power 10. Yep, so off 7, nothing. And the great sword, we are mat 7 hits, and I have a weapon master, so power 11. Beautiful. The grievers, we're gonna move here and then just place them. Number 10 is gonna shoot number 4. Def 12, I am rat 6, so 6s. Hits, I am power 12. Number 8 is gonna shoot number 5, so need a 6. 7 is gonna shoot number 5. Number 6 is Permanent Henchard's gonna activate. He's gonna move very mildly just outside of that range there, and do the same thing to give Essence last turn. Devour's very similar thing, except he's going to move this way, and he's actually going to Spell Slave Stygian Abyss onto Irison. 7, so I need a 9. Yeah, Eilish will activate. He's going to attempt to cast Hexblast on the Archnode, your Jack. Arcane Hack 6, but I roll 3 dice from the lowest. Def 12, so I need a 6. I get a 6. 16, so off 3. This is also an AoE 2 power 8. It should hit the Desta. I don't think I can do damage with an 8 though. So power 13, so dice of 3. I'm rolling 3 dice, dropping the lowest. Oh yeah, that's 8 to the 4. Now Zaateroth's gonna activate. Zaateroth's gonna feat. So everything in my army gets in control range of Zaateroth, gets +2 defense, and when an enemy model misses a friendly model while within Zaateroth's control range, immediately left attackers roll, I can place that model anywhere within 2. Yeah, I'm going to cast Carnivore on the Lamenter, so that costs 2, I believe, for Carnivore. And then I will also cast Ghostwalk for 2, and then move. I think I just go here. I think I honestly just don't move. I'm just not moving. It's crazy. Lamenter is going to charge Isrin. First attack. In Def 13, I'm at 6. 7s to hit. I think I boost the first one. It hits, not a crit. I'm power 15, rolling 3 dice. Oh, 5. So 5. So second attack, need 7, miss, and then I buy an attack. Hits. So off 5, 1. Griever's gonna activate. They are going to unload. They're gonna combine arms all into the Jack, the light Jack. So I'm +5. Rat 6 on 11. Yeah, so Snake Eyes, not Snake Eyes. How's 17? That's +1. 11 to 3. The Howlers, they can move in and around this guy just to like try and. Oh yeah, I can just tag all 3 with that guy. I'm gonna use the Pathfinder card. Howler number 3 into number 1. Mat 7, so 6s. Miss. Number 2 and the number 3. So need a 6. Hit. Power 13. -9. 3. And then number 1 is also going to go into number 3. Hits. Off 9. Nah. So number 1 and number 2 are in Zaateroth's range. Number 3 is not. Orin and his little posse are going to charge into here. Okay. They're all good. Okay. So, Cultists. They have gang. So we're going to do number 2 into your Jack. I go up to mat 6. 6 is there. It is power 11. -5. 1 to the 1. Number 4 is going to attack him. So I need a 6 to hit. Case. -5. Orin. He's also going to attack the Jack. He goes up to mat 7. So I need 5s. And I'm power 13, so off 3. There we go. And he has Battle Wizard. So I can cast Annihilation, which is a range 10, power 10, 10 AoE, which I might as well throw into the Desta in front of me. So I'm Arcane Attack 7. I miss. It's still just a power 10. So dice of 10. And then the other 2 are going to attack Desta 3. Where mat 6. Yep. 7s. Yep. Hits. That's a hit. Power 11. So off 9. No. And then the next one, need a 7. Hits. Then off 9. No. The Tormentor is going to charge. He can get there and still be in the control range, so that's fine. Def 12, Arm 18, huh? So, I have 2 claws. I'm at 6, so I need 6s. So, 6 hits. I am power 17, so 8 to the 2. I will then do my second initial. I need a 6 to hit. X. And then dice off 1. 7, it's fixed by another attack. Oh, I'm auto hitting damage. So off 1. 3 to the 5 by another attack. I can make a headbutt or throw for you because of grab and smash. I'll just do the headbutt because I think that knocks you down, doesn't it? So power 17, off 1 again, 5 to the 1. And then now this extra initial auto hits, 8 to the 1. Beautiful. The cultists are going to move 6. Actually, they'll be just behind this. So the front 2 will heal and then the back 2 will S's. 2d3, so I heal 5. Regna is going to activate. She's going to move into control range. And then I'm going to attempt to cast Influence on the Intercessor in the back. Arcane attack 6, so I need a 7. No, I'm going to try again, and I'll boost as well. Hits. I'm then going to attempt to attack with number 2 into number 3. So at 6 from your attacks, so I need 7 hits. 22, and you're 14, minus 8. 1 damage.
Ooh. Still alive.
1 damage. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, actually, I forgot to activate these cultists. I'm just going to move them up here.
Okay.
And they'll give essence to this guy.
Okay.
I score the red 50. I can't score the blue 50, sadly. And then, yep, that is then my turn.
Legions of Dawn, turn 3.
So my turn begins, and Jake has scored 1 from the previous turn because of the 50, as he mentioned. And then I score 1 because of my 40 with the Dawnguarded Victors. So Jake's previous turn was not as lethal as I was expecting. I only lost Chimera and the Chimera, which is still bad because I now lose my Arc Nodes. But I do still keep a lot of my forces intact. So I have to find a way to deal with his objective contesters. So I knew right off the bat that the Hyperion should deal with the the Tormentor on my 50. And I need to find a way to get rid of both the Grievers and the Umbral Guardian on my right flank. So I believe I upkeep Inviolable Resolve and Admonition. This time I have to spend 2. So Issyria is left to 6 focus. And I allocate 2 on the Hyperion and start thinking about what I want to do in the proper order. Luckily, I still have my horses relatively fresh from the previous turn. So that is a lot of firepower that I still have. And the Dawnguard Sentinels came out unscathed. And the only models that are actually now underpowered are the Invictors. So I start off with Issyria once more because the Crusader Skull was the crucial spell here. I needed to get the Hyperion into charge range with the Tormentor. So with the Quicksand here, and that's really been my biggest problem for the entire game. I needed that extra 2 speed so that the Hyperion could actually reach it. Thanks to Crusader Skull, the Hyperion would begin at base 7, so I would charge at 10, and then since I passed through the Quicksand, it now becomes 8, which is just enough to get into the 2-inch engagement range for the Hyperion. I then fly Issyria right behind the house to get a bit of protection from Jake's forces, and I've been thinking about using Ancillary Attack to try and deal some more damage into that Tormentor. However, with the feet up, there is a high chance that I would miss with Rat 5 against his Def 14, if I remember correctly. And if I do miss, there is a chance that the Tormentor could just walk right out of charge range. And I didn't want that, so I decided not to use Ancillary Attack. So I then activate the Hyperion after Issyria, and I do the charge, get into engagement range, and luckily I am also on the blue 50. So if I do get rid, of the Tormentor here, I would be able to score 2 this turn. So I put all of my attacks, including the charge, onto the Tormentor. I don't remember the exact damages that I actually dealt, but the melee attacks didn't cut it. So I had to actually shoot with the ranged attacks as well. However, I believe the Tormentor was left at 1 HP after this barrage, and Jake was able to actually move him out, but still being engaged. So I could not use the Star Cannon to actually finish it off alongside the cultists. So that's a shame, but I still am solely controlling the blue 50 on Jake's side, which was good. So I at least would be scoring another point on the end of my turn. I then activate the Dawnguard Sentinel Sire and use Precision Strike just for any reason that I could use it. There wasn't any other battle plan I could use anyway at that situation. So I decide to charge the Lamenter. But looking at it now, I should have maybe charged the Cultist and locked the Lamenter in place so that Jake would have had to deal with both Skyrith and the Sire with just his remaining forces. And the Lamenter shouldn't be able to easily walk out of engagement range and threaten Issyria, because the feat granted it the +2 defense, and it would be difficult to hit with my Mat 7. I believe the Lamenter would be sitting at defense 15. So that was really a bad choice in my opinion. I should have just gotten rid of that one cultist and be able to safely dominate that zone with 2 of my better performing solos. So yeah, I swing at the Lamenter. It misses. I don't deal any damage. I was hoping to at least bring it down to half so that Skyrith would also be able to get rid of it. But the dice rolls being what they are, I missed, and Jake is able to move 2 inches forward. I then activate the Dawnguard Sentinel Sire and declare a charge from the Sire into the Grievers on the right-hand side. And looking at the footage now, I just realized that I forgot to add the extra dice for the cavalry advantage. So I had 3 attacks, 1 with the lance, 1 with the shield, and then another with the gun. Because I did not put into account the additional dice for the lance attack, I was only able to get rid of 2 guys, and 1 guy, keeping 3 Grievers alive, which was terrible for me. So at the end of his activation, I was wondering what the best option was for my repo, if I decided to repo into the Umbral Guardian or the Grievers. In my head, if I did repo into the Umbral Guardian, the Grievers would be able to run and claim my objectives on his turn. So I decided to repo into engagement with all of the Grievers. So at the very least, Jake would have to sacrifice a combat action, or would just have to face the Sire, the Thane alone. So I then activate the Dawnguard Sentinels and decide to declare a charge onto his Howlers on the rubble. So I find what I believe at that time was the best possible placement that I could. And so I was able to tag all of his Howlers with at least 5 of my Sentinels. Ideally 6 if one of them still survived. I had 2 people in the back row able to swing at his number 1 and number 3, if I remember my numbering correctly. But either way, I should have been able to swing at all of them. But some of them were in feat range, which made it difficult because, like I said, the +2 defense and the essential dodge effect was something that I did not account for when I was doing this charge. So I was able to get rid of 2 of them. However, the 3rd Sentinel, if I recall correctly, swung and missed the last Howler, and it was able to move away from the remaining sentinels. So I had essentially wasted 3 swings with that miss. But you live and learn, that's how it works. I should have ordered the swings better so that I still had an option to, what they call that? An option to swing at other targets, or at least more viable targets at the end of that activation. So either way, I swing and miss at the last howler. I use the last possible swing that I had on the cultist, and it also missed, and the cultist was able to essentially jam up my lines further. I then activate the Manticore with its lone focus. I decide to declare a charge onto the Umbral Guardian. In hindsight, maybe I should have started with the Invictors first, so I had a better position in order to charge. But like I said, you live and learn. And in here, I swing at the Umbral Guardian. I actually do manage to miss, and luckily the Manticore had a second swing. I did manage to hit on that time, however, it only dealt like 4 points of damage, keeping the Umbral Guardian alive, still engaging my Dawnguard Invictors. I was hoping to be able to free up the Invictors and just use the Manticore to tie it up, so that I had a better chance of keeping this 40 mil objective firmly under my control by running them behind the obstruction, so that nobody, at least from that certain positioning, nobody would be able to shoot or charge at the Invictors. Then I activate the Dawnguard Invictors, and they reposition or move in a way so that both of my remaining guys would be able to swing at the Umbral Guardian. I was hoping that I had 2 chances of hitting and dealing damage to the Guardian, completely killing it. However, I believe I pillow fisted on both attacks and the Umbral Guardian stays. So I then activate the Dawnguard Desters, and I realize that the only people contesting the blue flag are the cultists. So I activate them, and luckily they have Unstoppable, but the rubble is really harming my movement coming from number 1. So I just move it and try to place my models in a way wherein I should be able to swing at all of the cultists. However, with all of the cultists being in in Zaateroth's control range, they are benefiting from the +2 defense. So even with def 12, they are now def 14, and I am going to be swinging at 8s, if I remember correctly. And I rolled really terrible here, and I don't believe I killed a single cultist, and it enabled Jake to gum up my lines further. Sorry, I do remember I was able to kill 2 of the cultists, but I really wanted to get rid of Orin Midwinter. But yeah, overall the end result was the same. Jake was able to keep 2 cultists alive, and they were 3 cultists alive, and they were still able to contest the blue 40 mil. So for my repositions, I just had to find a way to gum up his lines as well. So I use one of the Dawnguard Desters to get into engagement range with the Griebers on the trench. So at least in my head, that enables me to control more of the zone and prevent Jake from getting more activations that are more impactful. So I had 1 activation left, which was Feign Knight, and the only options that I figured I could take was to try and get rid of the Lamenter, which I don't think was possible, or get rid of Valen Hawk or the other solos. However, in my head, that would put me at risk of freeing up that Lamenter and enabling it into charging the Hyperion. So, and if I did make a swing at it with the feat active, if I missed, that was still going to happen. So I decided to just end my turn there, and I am down to my last 3 minutes and 30 seconds, which is a bad place for me. So I end the round and score twice for the blue 50 and my own 40. That brings us up to a score of 3-0.
Infernals turn 3.
Ghostly? So if I go here, I'm still I'm gonna make my buckler attack on the front one. I bat 7, 5s, miss. And then I'm gonna greatsword the back one. Def 12. Wow. That's shocking. The 5 grievers are going to volume fire into the Dester in front of them. 11. So not Snake Eyes. POW 17 minus 3. 3. The cultists are gonna move 6. Place there. Place here. Place here. Place here. They're all gonna heal him. So we got 43 healing. 7. So he's just outer. These cultists are gonna activate.
Okay.
They're gonna go into this Dester. They have gang. So I'm at 6, so 7s.
Oh.
So attack 1.
That
Hit.
misses. Arm.
POW 11 minus 4. 4. And then the second one need a 7 or 4. Valen Hawk is going to activate. He's going to precision strike. Yeah, into here. I'm going to attack the mat 7, so I need 6s. So off 2. There we go. 3 down.
It's not tough. That does trigger, what do you call that? Righteous Fury on the Fey Knight. That makes him arm 22 this turn, and then he will swing at +2 power next turn.
Next turn. Okay. Look, and I have a Repo 3, so I'm gonna Repo 3 just out of his melee, so that way he's not engaged by anyone. Hermit is gonna activate. Hermit's gonna move 5. And Hermit is going to do telemetry. +2 to arcane attack rolls against enemy models within 8 of him. Elish is gonna activate. He is going to... Eilish is going to move 6. I'm out of both melee ranges there. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to give Puppet Master to my caster. Zaateroth is going to activate. I'm going to activate at Tavares. They're going to... Tavares is going to run 11. Yeah, he's just going to run onto here. Zaateroth's going to... And then they're also going to give Zaateroth the next spell they cast, costs 1 less. Zaateroth's going to activate. They're just going to move onto here. They're going to cast Black Spot on the Colossal. So it's cost 2, which goes down to cost 1, because it's the virus. 9. Not Snake Eyes. Your -2 defense. Yeah, so I'm 10. I need to roll 10s. I'm going to attempt to shoot Issyria. I'm ranked 7. 9s to hit. I'm going to boost.
Nope.
Hits.
I am
POW 14. I think I'm going to boost this as well.
10 in. I will spend a focus to...
I can spend a focus to reload, and then I will shoot again. I'm gonna boost the attack roll. That hits. +1.
4.
I can reroll 1 damage roll. 7. I will then summon on Tavares, who summons for free. So I'm gonna summon in another Tormentor. Beautiful. And then that is Zaateroth's activation. Activate with my Tormentor, who's just gonna walk in. So I am mat 6. Makes to miss. POW 17. Times 2. 9 to the 4. Left. Attack 2. Hit. Off 2. 8 to the 6 left. That gives me chain smash and grab. Hits. POW 17. So off 2. 3 to 3. Left again. Buy an attack. Not Snake Eyes. Hits. Off 2. Over the 1. By another attack, not Snake Eyes, hits damage of 2, 9 to the 2, and then last attack, not Snake Eyes, hits of 2, 9 to the 6. My Lamenter, who I guess I'm gonna go into combat with and try and punch up. Mat 6, so 7s, hits, I'm off 5, 3, initial 2, need 7, miss, by an attack, need 7, hits, crits, you are paralyzed, off 5. You're just out of range, which I think you did on purpose. That's him. Guess I have these cultists. I guess I can charge into here. He's not engaged. Charge here, move here. I'm going to do number 4 in, so I'm 6, 13, so 7s. Hits. 11, off 11. Number 3 into number 1. Orin into number 3. Goes up to mat 7. So I need a 6. Hits. POW 13. I guess this Howler can move all the way up into here.
Okay.
And then he will do nothing else. I don't care about his combat attacks. Ragnar. I have precision strike, so I can move through my models. I'll run her. Just nice and annoying. Yeah, that's my turn. So cock over, pause.
Legions of Dawn, turn 4.
That was a relatively huge turn for Jake. He denied all of our scoring. He's down to 2 minutes. I'm down to my last 3 minutes. I lost one of my solos in the middle. I lost the horse on Fane Knight. And with 3 minutes in, I only had one thing that I could do in the given time period. So at the start of my maintenance phase, I dropped the upkeeps on both of my spells. I allocate Hyperion 3 focus, and I use Old Faithful in order to heal as much things as I can. I didn't really care about the generator at this stage because I knew the only way to win was to assassinate. And luckily, even while engaged, I could still move 3 inches because I'm still on the damn quicksand. I was still able to move 3 inches into Zaateroth's melee range, or at least have the Hyperion into melee with Zaateroth. And so the only things that I could do was swing both of my initial attacks, boost both to hits and 1 to damage, and I am able to go through Zaateroth's armor because Jake did not leave enough essence in order to transfer to his remaining horrors. And that was the only way to victory that I could see. Otherwise, I would probably just get rid of the Umbral Guardian and pass my turn at this stage and wait for Jake to clock out. However, that's not how I want to win. I want to win by sheer strategy or, assassinations. So luckily, I am able to achieve my goal, and let's get on to the outro. So thank you for getting up until this point. This has been my first 100-point battle report, and sadly I had to face some technical issues and camera framing errors. I hope you can get past that. I did not bother to add the nameplates and the attack effects at this stage because 100 points is a long game. I believe the real runtime for this game is about 3 hours and 30 minutes. So I had to condense it into an hour, which still hurts in my own way. I wanted to get this down to 30 minutes, but I don't think it was just possible. So very good game, Jake. Thanks for playing with me. That was a fun experience. It was down to the wire. And if anyone of you watching here see any technical or rules errors, please let me know. Please let me know if you want to see more 100-point battle reports, and if you want me to put back the nameplates and the attack animation effects and everything. Please write it down in the comment below. Otherwise, as always, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, kick ass with honor, game with glory, and progress, not perfection. Fear out. Bye-bye.